In this season on the Big Talk YouTube channel, I am going to be showcasing the 9 speakers who performed at the Big Talk Academy's virtual showcase. These 9 speakers are so incredible and they all have very powerful, unique stories to tell. And I hope you will tune in for the entire season. Yasmina Hedhli is going to be speaking about code switching, a necessary but harmful evil. Yasmina is a transformational coach and speaker. She built her career in the not-for-profit sector and in her 20s was leading teams, running departments, and managing a multi-million-pound budget. Realizing her life was all about work, lacking purpose, and boring, she made some big changes, including traveling to all 7 continents. Yasmina supports professionals to get more out of their work and personal lives by helping them define who they are and what they want, instilling empowering beliefs. Yasmina, take it away.
I had no idea that being your authentic self could make me as rich as I've become. If I'd known, I'd have done it a lot earlier. Famous words from Oprah Winfrey. This idea that authenticity is the key to success is one that I love, but can we really bring our whole authentic selves to the workplace? Code switching is a term that was traditionally used to describe the way bilingual speakers switch between their languages, but it's been adapted to include the way that people of color modify our appearance, our behaviors, even our names, to fit into dominant white settings. Code switching can be an advantage. It gives us the ability to navigate different worlds, to fit in seamlessly, to easily relate to different people, to be accepted. Who wouldn't want all of that? Well, as great as it might sound, it comes at a price. Is it true acceptance if you're spending 8 hours a day pretending to be someone you're not? Masking parts of yourself that are core to your identity? Code switching happens across all races, but for people of color, it's more prevalent, and in a lot of cases, it's a prerequisite in order to succeed at work. Examples of code switching in the workplace include working longer hours to overcome stereotypes around laziness, self-policing your language, not using words such as frustrated or annoyed to avoid being labeled as angry. It even goes as far as not eating traditional foods at work to avoid standing out or attracting ignorant comments. While preparing for this talk, I realized that all of my public speaking has been with straight hair, and I've also never gone to a job interview with my natural curls. You know what, let me quickly change that. Okay, that's much better. You see, as much as I love straight hair or having it up, career-wise, I've often found myself the only person of color in rooms with white people, white colleagues, and so these sometimes unconscious decisions about my hair have been an attempt to make myself more palatable and acceptable. In my experience, the ability to code switch has given me advantages in some ways and held me back in others. I grew up in London in a poor area that was very mixed. The first time I ever felt like a minority was when I went to university. It was very white, upper middle class, and I felt completely out of place. I had no idea how to fit in, and I didn't really want to. So instead of code switching, I disengaged. I went to classes, then I went home. Looking back, my time at university was very lacking. I don't have those happy memories that people reminisce about, but if I changed anything, it would have been myself, and that could have been potentially very harmful. In my career, I've worked at several universities, and I was once in a room with my white, very privileged academic colleagues who were discussing ethnic minority students from poor backgrounds. The conversation was very theoretical, as if they were talking about unicorns, and I was hyper aware that I'm one of these unicorns, but I don't think they realized. Anyway, I was too busy brushing my straight hair over my horn to try and avoid drawing attention to this fact. I could have contributed to this conversation and in a really meaningful way, but based on the culture, I felt that drawing attention to how different I was would have been to my detriment. And you can see from this example how code switching harms the individual, the organization, and the people they're ultimately there to serve. I mentioned changing my hair, but why should I have to? How about those who can't or don't want to? What about skin tone? No one can wake up in the morning an hour early to change that like I can with my hair. Colorism and texturism result in those with darker skin or coarser hair textures receiving more prejudicial and discriminatory treatment. And this really sums up one of the major harms of code switching. People with proximity to whiteness or those who are willing or able to change parts of themselves are rewarded, whereas those who can't or don't want to are penalized. In either case, people of color lose. Disengaging in the way I did at university is common at work, but it shouldn't be taken lightly. Social exclusion has been proven to have the same effect on the brain as physical pain. On top of that, how many lost opportunities result from social exclusion, whether it's self-imposed or otherwise? Having to hide parts of yourself can be soul destroying, and it can really compound experiences such as imposter syndrome, which is more prevalent among Black people in particular. Stereotype threat occurs when people are fearful of living up to stereotypes associated with their race. The fear alone can result in reduced performance and self-fulfilling prophecies. These are just some of the very real and harmful effects of code switching. It also damages companies. Diversity pays. Studies have demonstrated the connection between ethnic and cultural diversity at the executive level and increased financial performance and profitability. Increased diversity also creates increased flexibility in the workplace. And at a time where we have unprecedented change and unpredictability, the capacity to adapt is more important now than it has ever been. Now, a company could have lots of diversity, but unless it's truly inclusive, what does it matter if staff members of colour are whitewashed versions of their true selves? So what's the answer? At the corporate level, we need inclusion. Diversity alone is not enough. In a world that is waking up to the fact that Black Lives Matter, a world that suddenly came to a halt due to coronavirus, a world that is rapidly changing, the time has come for workplaces to be truly welcoming and safe for people of colour to bring our full selves. If you are a leader in a position of authority, or regardless of what level you're at, as a starting point, assume that your workplace makes code switching a necessity for people of colour. Examine your own biases, we all have them, and look at what changes you can make, starting with yourself at your own level of influence. People of colour, I can't promise you that being your authentic self will make you a billionaire like Oprah, but what I do know is this: you have true richness inside you. Your presence, experiences, perspectives, everything you bring to the table is of immense value. The real you is more than enough. If you're not being appreciated for who you truly are, find and even create spaces where your full self is valued. The world is rapidly changing. Let's make it so that code switching is no longer a necessity.
If you are interested in speaking at the virtual showcase like these incredible speakers, go to thebigtalkacademy.com and get on the wait list. This 12-week certification program culminates in a virtual showcase for TEDx producers, conference organizers, podcasters, producers, and you will be featured on my YouTube channel. If you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscription button and notification bell so you get access to my most recent video. And I love when you make notes in the comments, and I will always respond. Big love.